Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another reading video. And in this video, we're going to be doing my March TBR and showing you my March reading journal spreads that I've kind of started to develop and build. So if you would like to see what books I plan on reading for the month of March and what my monthly spread is going to look like in my reading journal, then just go ahead and keep watching. But before we get started, let's go ahead and put up the question of the video. And the question is, what book are you currently reading? I am currently reading, it is February the 23rd, and I just started Caught Up by Liz Tom Ford. This is book 3 of the Windy City series, and I'm really excited to read that book because all the other 2 books that I have read in that series I have really enjoyed. They have been, I believe, a 4.5 or higher. I don't think that either one of them were 5 stars, but I really enjoyed her books. And so that is what I am reading currently as of February the 23rd. So let me know what you're reading down below. Okay, now that that is out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into my plans for March. Just like I've done my other 2 TBR videos, I'm going to be choosing 10 books for this month, and 2 of them are going to come randomly from my TBR jar. These are all of the physical books that I have on my bookshelf that I have not read. I'll be picking 2 books from the jar, and then I have already identified 8 other books that I want to read for the month of March. So we're going to go ahead and dive into these first and see what I choose. This is usually the part that scares me the most because there are definitely books in here that I do not want to read, right now at least. I want to read them all, but let's see. We have the first book is A Touch of Darkness. This is a book by Scarlett St. Clair, and I think this is a retelling of Persephone, I think. But this is like a dark romance, so this one I'm not mad about. I've actually been eyeing this book and wanted to read it for a while now, and this will be the month that I will be reading it. I approve. And the next book, hopefully I have another really good choice, is this one. Okay, this one's not as bad. So this is Brandon Sanderson's Warbreaker. Now, I have been trying to read Brandon Sanderson, specifically Mistborn. I've tried to read that book or reread that book so many times because I read it so long ago. And I have a bunch of Brandon Sanderson books that I would like to read, but I feel like I need to get back into the Brandon Sanderson universe. And so every time I try to read Mistborn, it never works. This is Warbreaker. This is a Brandon Sanderson book that's actually a standalone, and I've heard it's really good. It's actually not a very long book either, so I will be excited to read this, and I'm very excited that this is not part of The Way of Kings or the other series that I have of his, because those are massive books, and I don't know if I'll be into reading those, but this one is okay. I like this one. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, I do have already identified 8 books that I want to read for the month of March. Now, I've decided that I wanted March to have a theme, and because March is when St. Patrick's Day falls. I am not Irish. I don't have anything to do with St. Patrick's Day. It's not in my genes or my whatever it's called. But I would like to go ahead and kind of celebrate the month of March by choosing books that have a green cover or have green prevalent in the cover. So I have identified 8 books that fall in that grouping. So the first 2 books that I have are actually books that I have on my bookshelf, and the first book is Maze Runner by James Dasher. I saw the Maze Runner movie so long ago, I could not tell you what it's about, other than it kind of reminded me of Hunger Games. I don't know, I think this book came out first before Hunger Games came out. I could be wrong, but from what my recollection is it's a book about kids that somehow get kidnapped or put into this arena that's surrounded by a wall, and at some point in the movie they get through or over the wall and there's like a maze behind it. I don't know, but I do have this. This is the first book of that series. I believe this is a trilogy. I do not have the other two books, but I do have this one and I would be interested to read this and then maybe also watch the movie after I read it to see the similarities and the differences and whether I prefer the book or the movie better. So we're gonna be reading Maze Runner, and then I'm also going to be reading Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. This is the second book of Magnolia's POV in the Magnolia Parks like universe. There was originally, I've already read the Magnolia Parks book. I read it last year, I believe, and then I read Daisy Hate's first book, and then this is the third book of the series, The Long Way Home, and I'm excited to read this. Magnolia Parks is like a cult favorite. Like, people love Magnolia Parks. I didn't care for the first Magnolia Parks. I really liked Daisy Hates. I think I'm going to be more of a Daisy Hates girl than a Magnolia girl, but we're going to go ahead and read about Magnolia and BJ and all the characters in this universe, and I'm excited. I actually went out and bought all of the Magnolia Parks books on Kindle, so I won't have to carry this big book around because it's like almost 600 pages. I'll be able to read it on my Kindle. So we'll be reading The Long Way Home. And then the other books that I do plan on reading for the month of March, I do not physically have. The next book is Wild Side. This is book 3 of the Rose Hill Ranch series by Elsie Silver. This one gets released on March the 1st. I did go ahead and pre-order that, so that's going to be coming in, but it is a all green cover, and I absolutely adore every single one of Elsie Silver's books, and I know this one is going to be no different. All of the Rose Hill Ranch books are single dad books, which we love, and I'm excited. I remember the second book, it did have like the first chapter of this book in it, and it seemed pretty interesting, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, but regardless, I'll be reading Wild Side by Elsie Silver. The next book I'm going to be reading is Flock. This one is book 1 of Ravenhood series, and this is by Kate Stewart. I'm looking up Goodreads right now so I can get some information on it. But this is it says it's a romance, a dark romance, reverse harem book, and I don't literally know anything. I know nothing about it, but it does have a 4.12 rating. It is on a series, and I don't know how many books are in the series, but I've wanted to read this book for a while, and so this is going to be the perfect opportunity for me to do it because it is like the bottom part of the cover is all greens. It's like foresty and all that kind of thing, so we'll be reading Flock. The next book is Wretched. This is by Emily McIntyre. This is part of her Never After series. I just read Hooked in February, and all of the books within the series are a reimagining of Disney stories. So Hooked was from Peter Pan, and all of the books they're not fantasy and they're not like a retelling. It's a reimagining of those characters in a completely different type of story and different type of like world that they would be in. So this one I'm unsure of because Goodreads says, like the tagline underneath the name says comes a dark and delicious fractured fairy tale reimagining of The Wizard of Oz. The description talks about brains, brawn, and a botanist is the main character. So it's got the brains of the lion, not the brains of a lion, the brawn of the lion and the brains of the Tin Man and that type of thing. So this one didn't have nearly as good of a rating as some of the other stories within the Never After series. This one has a 3.84, but I did really like Hooked, and I would be interested to see what this is about. This one is a dark romance, and it has something to do with a person in like the drug empire and a DEA agent, which is a drug enforcement agency. So you have the cops versus the bad guy, and the FMC is that bad character. So we'll be reading Wretched. The next book I'm going to be reading is Eyes on Me. This is from the Salacious Players Club. This is book 2. I did just read book 1 in either January or February. I really don't remember when I read that book. But this one is a romance. It has, basically he is an owner of like a sex club, and he is a voyeur, which basically he likes to watch people. And yeah, so we'll be reading this one. I really did like the first one. It was a good read. I enjoyed it. So I'm hoping that Eyes on Me will be just as good. The next book is Greenlight by Jessie Hall. I have read a couple of Jessie Hall's books. I did not finish the last book. I don't remember what it is. I had to do a softie enough of it because it just was too much for me. It was all drugs with no plot, and I just wasn't into it at the time. But I'm gonna go ahead and give Greenlight a go. And this one is a dark college romance about the MMC who is obsessed. He has an online obsession with his new stepsister. So that's gonna be fun. It's a dark romance, enemies to lovers, college. Those are the kind of the genres that show up on Goodreads for Greenlight. So we'll be reading that one. And then the last one is not out yet. It is coming out on March the 20th, I believe. This is Kiss the Villain by Rena Kent. And on Goodreads, it says it's in the world of Legacy of Gods, which is like God of Malice, God of War, all of those type of things. It's like a 6-book series. Really, I think it's 6 books. Really enjoyed all of the Gods of War series. The last book wasn't my favorite, but all the other ones I really did enjoy. So Legacy Gods was definitely a book that I enjoyed. And this one, from reading the description, and I even went to the Rena Kent website to see because there's a whole Renaverse with all of her books, and you can kind of see the reading order and how they're all kind of interconnected. And I went to the Legacy of Gods section to see all the characters, like the parents and their kids, and how they're all kind of tied in, because the characters that show up on here are Caden Lockwood, and the MMC has the last name of Carson. He's the heir to the Carson Empire, and he runs into Caden Lockwood. Now, Carson, last name, does show up in the Legacy of Gods series, but I thought we already had all the Carsons. I could be wrong. I haven't read the Legacy Gods in a very long time. I thought we already had Carsons in a previous book or in already identified in a Rena book, but maybe I'm wrong. But regardless, this is coming out. This one is a dark romance. It's a romance college, it's a professor student type situation. And yeah, so we're gonna be reading Kiss the Villains, and I'm really excited to dive back into another Rena Kent book because I have truly enjoyed all of her books. So this one I think is gonna be a really good read, and I cannot wait till the 20th when that comes out. That is going to be all of the books that I'm going to be reading in the month of March, and I am so excited. So now what I'm going to be doing is updating my reading journal really fast. I do need to go in and add in the 2 books that I pulled for my physical TBR because I need to print out the covers so I can put them in my reading journal. So I'm going to do that really quickly.
Here's to the good days, here's to the sorrows. If this is a mistake, I know about tomorrow. I don't wanna fight no more, cause I don't feel the need no more, no. Just wanna make it stop. Maybe it's something in the water, or maybe we just hit the end of the road.
Okay, my main cover for the month of March is done. For this month, I'm going to use some cardstock that I got from Michael's, I believe. I got a bunch of different cardstock packs, so I don't really remember which one they were. I'll try to link them down below if possible, but I do have the cover just says Hello March. And then for my March TBR, I do have all of the covers that I just printed out. I am going to use a stamp. I do have a 5-star ranking stamp that I will go ahead and put down underneath all of the books, so that way when I get done reading them I can go ahead and fill in the star rating that I give each book. But that's going to be it for this cover. And then the way that I use my reading journal is I'll have the following page after the main cover. This is going to be my end of month Storygraph chart. So I'll have a printout of exactly how many books I read, what the ratings were, or the average ratings were, the number of pages and all that kind of stuff. That's going to be on this one side of this page for Storygraph. And then the other pages are going to be if I decide to make a spread for any of these books. I'll go ahead and print out some pictures and things like that and design the page for each book. So I don't have any other plans for the rest of the pages. That's going to be something I'm going to be filling out as the month progresses and as I finish each book. So this is my March reading journal. And with that, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you will, go ahead and drop me a comment down below and answer the question that we talked about earlier in the video. I would love to hear some of your comments, and I will be seeing everybody in my next video. Bye!